Big Z Reviews. Hi, my name is Brandon Zarzyczny, but you can call me Big Z, and today I'm doing a book review for Nightwatching by Tracy Sierra. And I first heard about this book because it was part of a book club for like Jimmy Fallon that he was doing. I know he did this year he did a whole tournament for it. And honestly, I voted in the tournament. I was like, oh, none of these books look that interesting. But then this ended up winning, and I was like, oh, that was kind of the most interesting looking one. So I decided to check it out and read it. And it's not necessarily like the type of book I normally read, but I did enjoy it. It's interesting. What's funny, while I read it, it definitely I think would almost work better as a film. I think they might be making a film, but it's kind of this is a post-pandemic book. I think it was written during the pandemic and happened. It takes place mostly during the pandemic, and there's essentially this mother, she is in the house at night, and she's taking care of her kid that's having trouble sleeping or something, and then she sees in the hallway there's a guy walking up the stairs, and she gets her kids to hide in the house, and that's essentially the book. And it's kind of a really interesting way to do a book, but I think that except it worked better as an hour and a half thriller, because in the book I kept wanting more. And you do while she's hiding from who end up the guy they end up calling the coroner, because one of the kids has said that they thought they'd seen the guy watching and talking to her from the corner of the house previously. And the whole time she's hiding with the kids in this secret room under the stairs like Harry Potter, and that and he's rampaging around yelling trying to find them. And that's a lot of the book, and then within that you see flashbacks. You find out more and more about this woman and her family and their story, and it's a very interesting way to do it. But it's tough to get a picture. I know if something is so amateur, when if you see a young writer will go to it so the reader has a mind picture of the main character. They go oh, as I looked before I was getting ready, I looked into my mirror and noticed my shoulder length brown hair, and my mousy features, and my plump red lips, and my 5'8" frame, and you see that. No one thinks like that, but yeah, okay, now I have the picture of that character in my mind. But this time, it was tough to get a picture of her, because other than she's small. But then as the book goes along, you get more about her from other people's reactions to her, because she has a really unique look. She's 5 foot tall, and she has alopecia, and
vitiligo.
She's anorexic, and so she's tiny, maybe 80 pounds soaking wet. It sounds like. So it's interesting though, because the corner, it's for me. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'5", 450 pounds, working on getting that lower. But I resemble more the corner than her. Not in any of the evil stuff, but in just the general body shape. She describes him as a giant of a man, and that he's stomping around the house trying to find her. And and I also too I enjoy reading a lot of fantasy books, and sometimes horror books, but there's definitely more the characters are strong, but they have to beat the villains and save the world or whatever. And this is definitely, she is very weak, and she has to outsmart the killer, and then she has to prove that there even was this person in her house afterwards. And that is some of the most interesting parts of the book. Because it's slight spoiler, but I won't talk about what actually happens, but there's mainly two parts of the book. and like two main events, but like after this happens, then she like no one believes her. They think that she was abusing her kids and she was drunk and she didn't, like, none of this happened. All the cops believe her, and it's at one point like, oh, the cops really suck, and like, yeah, the cops can suck at times, especially like there might be some good cops, but a lot of them suck, and that especially if they don't believe the person, they're not going to help them, and so there's some really interesting stuff. Like she has to, and I know like there's some like plot twists and stuff, and like the big plot twist I saw coming. And that's one thing I think it might work better as a movie, because like when you're reading this book, you're with her and you're seeing your horror and everything that happens. And like when the cops try to tell her had like a different angle on her story, you're like, well, fuck you. That's not what happened. And I think that and I never got the sense that she was an unreliable narrator, which I mean I think would have made it more interesting. Possibly at the same time, it makes you more upset at what's happening, that people are questioning her and not believing her. Like, so I kind of like that. I never for a moment didn't think what I saw didn't happen. I made it too negative, but like I never like I always believed the main character, but like at the same time, I think in a movie it might work better, because like if you'll think that they somehow say maybe she's misremembering things or somehow like it'd be interesting to see if they do make a movie, like if they could pull that off, because like that's the one thing, like if there was another twist, like there is some really cool stuff, and like you'll reveal more about the family and their tragic story. Like she has a tragic story as a child and tragic story as a couple, as a married couple, and there's a lot of horrible things, but like it's interesting. But I almost wish there was more. Like it's not that big of a book. I mean, it's like 300 pages, but I mean, it's relatively big spacing in words. Like it's a light novel, but then I'm used to reading like 1,000-page books sometimes. Some of the epic fantasy novels can, and they mean like 10 of them, an entire series. But like I kind of wanted to know more about her, and they were very, at the same time it's tight. It's a very tight book. So I understand why you didn't want to expand too much and kind of leave you up in the air, like not knowing everything about this character. But I think like it was so weird, like when I didn't realize she was anorexic until like after she ran away and she's like saved. The elderly couple that take her in from the cold, like they say, oh, she's so skinny, what's wrong with it? It's not just the cold and the frostbite, it's also how skinny she is. And I knew she was small and weak, but I didn't realize how frail she actually was. It wasn't in my mind, I didn't have her like as that fragile. But still she's a really strong character, even if she physically isn't strong. And I love the aspect of having like a strong inner spirit and strength that doesn't show to anyone that would look at her, that she will fight for her family, and they against the police that won't believe her, against the evil child sexual abuser, serial killer, or whatever, the coroner, whatever he may be, even though if everyone else says that he doesn't exist. She will fight for her family, and like there's a lot here that I liked. I think it just wanted a little bit more. Like I definitely could have used more flashbacks. There are flashbacks, but I could have used like more, like showing that she wasn't a horrible mom. But like the cops really want to push the narrative that she's a horrible mom. So like at the same time, I guess then it would have left it open that maybe some people might thought maybe she was an unreliable narrator, but I never got that aspect. So maybe if there was more time, that just like time with them, like maybe even like for the start of the book, it happens right when she notices the night watcher, the coroner, the guy in her house. Like even if you like got like earlier in the day, you went about a day of a life of this family before the horror. But at the same time, they want to start off with a bang. I understand that. But yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. So thanks for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe down below. Thanks.